This video will contain example problems on multiplying complex numbers, dividing with complex numbers, and solving quadratics and having a complex solution. Example 1, we want to multiply the quantity 8i times the quantity 5 minus 7i times the quantity 1 minus 3i. Here we have to do the order of operations and distribute first. First I will distribute the 8i times 5 and 8i times negative 7i. So 8i times 5 is 40i. 8i times negative 7i is negative 56 I squared times now the quantity of 1 minus 3i. Now we have to multiply again. So we have to do 40i times 1, which is 40i. 40i times 3i is negative 120i squared. We now have to multiply negative 56 times 1, negative 56i squared. And last we have to do negative 56 times negative 3, which brings us to positive 168i to the third power. Simplifying, we know that we have 40i minus 120 times negative 1, because I squared is negative 1, minus 56, negative 1, plus 168 I squared I. I broke down the I to the third power to I squared times I to the first. We now have 40i. Negative times a negative is a positive 120. Negative times a negative is a positive 56. Plus 168, negative 1i, which brings us to 40i, plus 120 plus 56 is 176. 168 times negative 1 is minus 168i. We can now combine terms and do 40 minus 168. And we get 176 minus 128i. And that is our final answer. Example 2. We want to get rid of the complex number in the denominator, so we have to multiply both sides by the complex conjugate of the denominator, which is negative 5 minus 8i, negative 5 minus 8i. So when we distribute, we're going to have negative 5 times negative 5, which is 25, times positive 40i minus 40i, and we have negative 64i squared. Multiply up the top, negative 8 times negative 5, 40, negative 8 times negative 8i is positive 64i. Negative 7i times negative 5i is positive 35i. And negative 7 times negative 8 is positive 56i squared. So now we have to simplify, turn our I squares into -1 and combine like terms. So starting with the denominator, the 40 i's will cancel each other out. And we have 40 plus 64i plus 35i plus 56 times -1 all over 25 minus 64 times -1, where -1 is coming from the I squared. So combining like terms, we have 40, 64 plus 35 is 99, I minus 56 all over 25 minus, well, that minus turns to a plus 64. So combine like terms, 40 minus 56 is -16 plus 99i all over 89. And we need to break it down into -16 all over 89 plus 99i over 89. And that is our final answer. Next up, one other division problem with complex numbers in the denominator. So we have to multiply both sides by the complex conjugate of the denominator, which is -8 minus 7i over -8 minus 7i. When we distribute, you should know right now that the -8 times -8 is positive 64. And we're going to have a minus 49i squared times -8 minus 7i. Simplifying the denominator, we get 64 plus 49, because remember that I squared is -1, which simplifies even further to -8 minus 7i all over 64 plus 49 gives us 113, which breaks down to -8 over 113 minus 7i over 113. Please continue to the next video to see the rest of the problems.